Top fascinating facts about the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. The assassination of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, on April 14, 1865, marked one of the most critical and tragic moments in American history. Orchestrated by a small group of conspirators and led by the infamous John Wilkes Booth, the event is wrapped in layers of intrigue, betrayal, and unexpected twists. Here are 11 fascinating facts about this dark chapter in American history, highlighting the key participants and uncovering some of the most incredible and scandalous aspects of the assassination. Fact number 1. The Mastermind, John Wilkes Booth. John Wilkes Booth, born on May 10, 1838, into a famous acting family, was more than just a renowned actor. He was deeply entrenched in pro-Southern ideologies. His initial plot, formulated in late 1864, aimed to kidnap President Lincoln and exchange him for Confederate prisoners of war, potentially changing the war's outcome. This plan was set to be executed in March 1865 but failed when Lincoln did not appear at the expected location. With the Confederacy's surrender at Appomattox Courthouse on April 9, 1865, Booth's motives turned from kidnapping to assassination. On April 14, 1865, he shot Lincoln at Ford's Theater during a performance of Our American Cousin, dramatically altering American history. Booth's own writings, including entries in his diary, reveal his conviction that the act was justified to avenge the South. Number 2. The Coconspirators' diverse backgrounds. The assassination plan involved a complex network of co-conspirators, each with distinct roles and backgrounds. Lewis Powell, also known as Lewis Payne, born in 1844, was a former Confederate soldier who had served in the Army of Northern Virginia. On the night of April 14, he attacked Secretary of State William H. Seward, inflicting severe injuries with a knife. Powell's violent assault was part of the coordinated attacks, demonstrating the plot's reach beyond Lincoln himself. George Surat, a German immigrant and carriage repairman, was assigned the task of killing Vice President Andrew Johnson. On the planned night, Surat rented a room at the Kirkwood House, where Johnson was staying, but ultimately lost his nerve and made no attempt on Johnson's life, spending the night drinking instead. Mary Surratt ran the boarding house in Washington, D.C., where Booth and his associates planned their conspiracy. Born in 1823, she was deeply implicated in the plot, accused of providing logistical support to Booth and his fellow conspirators. On July 7, 1865, Surratt was executed by hanging, marking a historic and controversial moment as she became the first woman executed by the U.S. federal government. Number 3. The failed attempts on other leaders. The broader plot aimed to destabilize the Union government by eliminating its top leaders in a single night. William H. Seward's attack occurred on the same night Lincoln was shot. Despite being bedridden from a recent carriage accident, Seward survived Powell's brutal attack, thanks to the efforts of his son, Frederick Seward, and other household members who intervened. Andrew Johnson's assassination attempt failed outright due to Surat's inaction. This failure demonstrated the assassination plot's ambitious scope but also its reliance on the resolve of its individual members, which, in Surat's case, faltered at the crucial moment. Number 4. The use of a code phrase. Booth's access to Lincoln's box at Ford's Theater was facilitated by his familiarity with the theater and its staff, as well as his celebrity status. The code phrase he used, "Don't wish to disturb you. Are you at home?" was a calculated move to bypass any potential objections from Lincoln's footman, Charles Forbes. This phrase exemplified Booth's cunning and his ability to exploit social norms and his own status for nefarious purposes. Booth's manipulation of the situation underscores the audacity of his plan and his commitment to seeing it through, regardless of the cost. Number 5. The leap to the stage. On the evening of April 14, 1865, after shooting President Lincoln at Ford's Theater, John Wilkes Booth made a dramatic and historic leap from the presidential box onto the stage. This leap, approximately 12 feet in height, was not only audacious but also injurious. Booth's spur snagged on the Treasury Guard flag decorating the box, causing him to land awkwardly and fracture his left leg. Despite the injury, Booth managed to stand, brandishing a knife, and famously shouted, "Sic semper tyrannis," Latin for "thus always to tyrants," a Virginia state motto, and proclaimed, "The South is avenged." These words, spoken on a stage familiar to Booth, the actor, underscored the theatricality with which he viewed his act of assassination. His escape from the theater into the night set off one of the most infamous manhunts in American history. Number 6. The 12-Day Manhunt. After fleeing Ford's Theater, Booth, with a broken leg, embarked on a desperate escape. He and his accomplice, David Harold, initially sought medical treatment for Booth's injury from Dr. Samuel Mudd in Maryland. Over the next 12 days, they avoided capture by moving across rural Maryland and into Virginia, relying on a network of Confederate sympathizers for shelter and aid. The manhunt involved thousands of soldiers and detectives, culminating on April 26, 1865, when Booth and Harold were discovered hiding in a tobacco barn on the farm of Richard Garrett near Port Royal, Virginia. When Booth refused to surrender, the barn was set on fire. As the flames rose, Sergeant Boston Corbett shot Booth through a crack in the barn, aiming to capture him alive but instead striking him in the neck, paralyzing him. Booth died a few hours later, uttering his final words, "Tell my mother I died for my country." Number 7. The Mysterious Diary Pages. In the aftermath of Booth's death, a diary was found among his possessions. This diary, which Booth had kept during his flight, contained not only reflections on his actions and justifications for the assassination but also missing pages. These torn-out pages have led to much speculation and conspiracy theories regarding their contents. Some historians speculate that these pages might have included names of additional collaborators or detailed plans for further actions, which Booth might have removed to protect others or because he reconsidered their implications. The missing pages remain a tantalizing mystery, fueling debates about the breadth of the conspiracy and the identities of all involved. Number 8. George Atzerodt, the Reluctant Conspirator. George Atzerodt, born in Germany in 1835, immigrated to the United States in the 1840s. By the time of the Lincoln assassination plot, he had become involved with John Wilkes Booth and was assigned a critical role in the conspiracy to assassinate Vice President Andrew Johnson. On the night of April 14, Atzerodt checked into the Kirkwood House Hotel, where Johnson was staying, but his resolve faltered. Overwhelmed by fear or perhaps doubting the plot's righteousness, Atzerodt spent the evening drinking at the hotel bar, never making an attempt on Johnson's life. His inaction and subsequent arrest on April 20, 1865, shed light on the varied commitment levels among the conspirators and the chaotic nature of their plan. Atzerodt's later statements and trial testimony provide a glimpse into the conflicted emotions and doubts that plagued at least one member of Booth's plot. Number 9. Mary Surat, a controversial execution. Mary Surat's execution remains one of the most controversial aspects of the aftermath. As the owner of the boarding house where the conspirators met, her exact level of involvement was debated. Her trial and subsequent execution by hanging on July 7, 1865, alongside 3 other conspirators, marked the first time a woman was executed by the federal government of the United States, raising questions about justice and gender bias. Number 10. Lincoln's Premonition. In a chilling twist, Lincoln reportedly had a premonition of his own death. Just days before the assassination, he shared a dream with his cabinet where he roamed the White House searching for the source of mournful sobbing. Upon finding a room filled with mourners and a catafalque, upon asking who had died, he was told it was the president, murdered. This eerie dream haunted Lincoln, and he shared it with his wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, and a few close associates. The dream's prophetic nature and its timing have intrigued historians and psychologists alike, adding a layer of supernatural intrigue to the assassination. Number 11. The first American presidential assassination. Lincoln's assassination was the first of a president in American history, setting a somber precedent. This tragic event shocked the nation and had profound effects on American society and governance. It thrust Vice President Andrew Johnson into the presidency, a man who would face immense challenges in reconciling a fractured nation and implementing Reconstruction policies. The assassination also highlighted vulnerabilities in presidential security, leading to significant changes in the protection of American presidents. Lincoln's death became a pivotal moment in U.S. history, symbolizing the end of the Civil War but also the beginning of a long and tumultuous period of Reconstruction and reconciliation.